Hey everybody, Aaron here, and welcome back to another anime review. I'm being honest with you. I don't know if this is considered a surprise attack review, or a fan request review, or what. Let's call this a hybrid review, like HR. No, that sounds like homework. No, I don't want to do that. No, but let's yeah, I'll call this video a hybrid review. How's that? Because I mean, honestly, it is in many ways a hybrid review. So let's do some backstory on this first. My friend Brago, who he has a YouTube channel, he's awesome. Check out his content. He makes some amazing videos. He's very funny. He's very full of life and full of joy when he comes to do his videos. You can see it, and that really comes off on a lot of his videos. Check out his channel. Um, what he's doing right now is he's watching the original Berserk anime, not the movies. And I was happy as heck when I heard about that because I'm a huge diehard fan of all things Berserk. I love the anime. I love the movies a little more because I think the movies are really well done. I love the video game. I played the video game for the Dreamcast. I never played the PS2 one, which I wish to God I can play, but I cannot right now. Um, and yeah, I've read the manga up to the latest chapter. I'm pretty caught up with the manga. I think maybe I might actually be one or two chapters behind, but I always do that just to kind of because if you guys are new to Berserk, Berserk came out, and I'll tell you guys right now, Berserk started in 1989. 1989, okay? That was before I was born. That's how old that is. And so I feel good because I'm not that old then, thank God. But that's 1 year before I was born, so I'm not that young either. But 1 year before I was born, 1989, this came out, and it's still being worked on today. It's still being worked on. It is not done. It has not been completed. It is not even close to completion. It's still going. Dang, right? Um, the reason behind this is two reasons. One reason I know for a fact is because the actual creator of Berserk, and I'm gonna look up his name real fast because I don't want to mess up his name. It's Kentaro Miria. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Kentaro made the series, and he works with a very small group of people. Like, so I don't know if you guys don't know the kind of semantics that work behind the scenes of anime or manga in general, but they're very large groups of people, like almost like video games, where you have a lot of people working behind the scenes, doing both, storyboards and doing the animations and stuff like that. And manga is no exception. The same stuff. It's a lot of people doing illustrations. You have people doing the kind of paneling for the actual story. You have people working the illustrations for the cover. You have people working for the text, dialogue, everything. It's a very, very big project, and it takes a lot of people. Kentaro does not have a lot of people. He actually runs a very small group of people, and it's caused all the manga to take a very long amount of time. But it looks amazing for that reason, I guess. But it does make it so it takes ages for it to come out. It really does. It takes a single volume seems to take almost anywhere from 4 months to 5 months to come out, maybe more. And not to sound cruel, but it takes forever to the point that most people lose their interest in Berserk. I always find that people watch it for a while or read the manga for a little while and then kind of just go, what was I reading? Berserk? Because it just you can catch up to this. It's 300 volumes I think right now, but it doesn't take that long to catch up to. It's really that quick to catch up to. But let's talk about why I'm making this video more so, and not talk so much about this background story here. Brad was watching the current anime series, and I told him I reviewed the original one, but I forgot I actually never reviewed on this channel the original one. So I wanted to go talk about that. I want to actually review the original one because I've reviewed the movies in tangent. I've reviewed each actual volume of the movies because there's three of them. I want to talk about the anime and hold the old anime. Now, be warned. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give some warnings like always. This is an older series, so I'm putting that out there that the animation looks like it's old. The art style looks old. I mean, this came out in 1997 and finished in 1998. It took a year. But it looks old. It does look old. Now, I'm not going to hold that against the score, though. I want you guys to know that. Even though it looks old, and I'm taking this as like if it first came out. Alright, so let's talk about this. So without spoiling it, Berserk is interesting. By the way, if you watch Berserk, if you've never watched it, I would suggest skipping the first episode. I know that's weird. I know most people say that's weird, but there are a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people that watch Berserk and are religious when it comes to Berserk that will always agree with me that say skip the first episode because the first episode is an epilogue. And it's very odd that they did this way. I think they wanted to set up kind of a foreshadowing, but what ends up coming out is more so just an epilogue of a story that you'll want to watch more of it, but it might confuse the heck out of you. It might actually even turn you off from watching the show. I've had some people not watch it because they're like, well, I don't like this. Nothing set up, and it doesn't set up anything. It just throws you into an action sequence essentially with a little bit of backstory, but a little bit of kind of showing the world. I'd say avoid it. Or if you're watching the movies, watch the movies first and then watch the first episode, because that's a good idea too. But Berserk follows our main character, who's a mercenary called Guts, or Gatsu, as some people call him in the manga. It's depending on how you want to call him. I always call him Guts because I think it sounds better. But Guts is a hired mercenary that is known to be this guy with an incredibly large sword. His sword is twice the size of him, but he swings it, and he swings it in combat very ferociously, and he's able to wield it very well. Now, one day when he's working on a job, he actually runs into a small group of like mercenaries themselves called the Band of the Hawk. Now, the Band of the Hawk is run by Griffith, who is this guy with a glowing lock of hair. His hair is like silver, but it's really long, and he almost has this kind of regal look to him. But Guts learns that he doesn't look that way per se. He looks that way because he wants to be regal. He wants to get into the army. He wants to get through the army, get into the kind of prince royalty. He wants to become a prince essentially. He's gonna do anything for that. And when Guts and him clash at the first time they meet, they fight each other. It kind of leads them to think that they might be able to make an actual team that actually could work around and do mercenary group missions and stuff and make a lot of money. And Guts only cares essentially in the beginning about money. But you see Guts' character start caring a little bit less about money and more so about his comrades. And some characters will completely hate him at the beginning, like Casca, which is the female lead of the show. But then she'll like him eventually. But see, here's where Berserk sounds very atypical in the beginning part of it. I know most people are going, well, that sounds like every anime, right? Two things. One, Berserk starts off in a way that's just more so like a mercenary story, where you have him fighting off various groups and dealing with all these missions and cases and stuff like that. But then it goes into this very dark tone where the world of Berserk is fully fleshed out when you realize that not everything is seen initially. That's one of the beauties of Berserk, that you start seeing that there's actual demons that exist. You start seeing that there's creatures that go thump in the night. And they are scary and they're terrifying. And what happens when Berserk, gets really into it, what happens when Guts starts getting into the story more, is that he starts seeing what the world really has. And he starts learning that there are things that he might be able to stop, and there are things that he's not going to be able to stop. And through a various course of actions, bad things will happen to our main cast of characters. Very bad things will happen to them. Now, Berserk is very violent. It is one of the most violent anime out there, even for old days. If you want to go back and say, oh, that's not that bad for old days. It is considered one of the most violent and visceral types anime out there. And I'll tell you guys right now also a little kind of tidbit that I learned from another YouTuber. I forgot who I think I learned that from Oz. So since I mentioned his channel, I'll put Oz in the description box also. He mentioned that the actual anime, the original one, this one, is coming out on Blu-ray. So if you guys want to watch it on Blu-ray, just wait a little while. It'll be out soon. But Berserk is an awesome, awesome dark story, dark fantasy at its max. It deals with things that are creepy. It deals with stories that are both love and affection, and what is the desire when you go so far for your goals? What are you willing to do for your goals? Are you willing to crush people? Are you willing to crush hopes and dreams? Are you willing to stomp over people? What are you going to do? Do you want to do the nice way of doing it, where you work alongside other people? Berserk asked that question. It asked those questions in general. But this show is amazing. It is one of the, even animation-wise, even though it's old, if you love stuff like Dragon Ball Z, if you love that, I want to say, what else is like this? I can't think of anything like this. I'm trying to think of something that I can't think of it. I don't want to put dead silence in the air for a couple seconds, but if I do think of it, I'll put it in here. But if you love that old style of animation, then like Guyver, for example, Guyver that came out, the older one. If you love that type of stuff, you'll love Berserk. You need to check it out. It's one of my favorites of all time. That's why, if I had to review it, A through F, this is taking the fact that the voice acting is not bad for Berserk, even though it was a bunch of no names at the time. This is also taking that the animation is older, but it still was amazing when it came out. I would have to give it an A. Berserk is a phenomenal story. It is worth the A. It's not an A plus. It has some issues, pacing wise sometimes, and it has some issues that, again, even back then it kind of looked meh. I mean, I remember watching this not when not when I was a kid, but I watched this when I was like 15 years old or 14 years old, and it was I was used to watching older stuff even that period, but it looked very old even back then. But yeah, it's a great show. I highly recommend check it out. I don't know why you wouldn't. If you really don't want to check out the whole series, watch the movies. I'll tell you guys right now that they are continuing it. Eventually, they're going to continue. Oz told me that also, that they're continuing the series, and I'm so happy about that. So we'll finally get past the actual story. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys completely. The movies, the three movies that I was talking about earlier, are recaps essentially of the anime. They're whole new animations. They're done in a way that's divergent from the actual anime. So they actually have different stuff in them, story wise and elements, but they are the main story. So it's essentially the same story being repeated in the movie. So just warning up for that. That choose which one you want to watch carefully, because unless you like watching, I actually want to say like 5 hours of a movie, because it's 5 hours all three of the movies combined, of essentially what is the same stuff as the past, even though it looks a lot better in a way, it looks way better in action sequences and all that. It's still the same content. Just giving you guys a heads up. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And as always, until I pass across again in the next review, please like, comment, subscribe. I wanted to end like that today, no. But I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.